You think it's going to burn fat? No. You're eating protein, and you're also injecting yourself with bovine growth hormone so you get fat faster, and you're eating Monsanto's genetically modified corn to make you fat faster.
This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better. So 10 foods you should never eat. If you stay away from these few foods, all right, never eat. 10 foods you should reduce the amount you eat. Isn't that better? It's not all or nothing. At least reduce. It's number 1. Corn. Well, the American Corn Association is going to sue me. I know. It's right away. Corn. Stay away from corn. Why? Because almost all corn, specifically in America and Canada, but also around the world, almost all corn is now produced from Monsanto seed, which has been genetically modified and or is a hybrid corn, which means it's man-made, which means it's been processed. The corn was specifically developed by Monsanto to be fed to cows to make them put on fat very quickly and grow very fast. So if you're interested in keeping trim, if you think, I put on weight easily, corn is getting you fat because you're nothing but a piece of cattle. And the more corn you eat, just like the more corn a cow eats, the fatter you get and the faster you get fat. That's what the corn was specifically manufactured to do. It's not real heirloom, original, as nature intended corn. Monsanto corn, which is almost all the corn you can find, is making you fat. It's putting massive amount of fat on you. It's making you get bigger. It's putting on massive amounts of weight. Plus, it causes allergic reactions to all types of varying degrees. So anything that has the word corn in it, corn syrup solids, high fructose corn syrup, corn starch, corn meal, corn flour. It's not hard. You look at the ingredients. If it has the word corn in there, stay away from it unless you like being a fat pig. Then eat more. Corn flakes, corn puffs. Okay, number 2, artificial sweeteners. The 2 main ones are aspartame, which is called NutraSweet, and sucralose. Where are artificial sweeteners? Well, number 1, you find them in diet sodas. Why should you even avoid it? These fall into a category called excitotoxins. This is the best part. The number 1 reason people consume food with artificial sweeteners is because you've been lied to and manipulated and brainwashed. Here's what you think. I'm not going to say you're stupid because you've just been fed bad information and you stupidly believe it. So here's why people say, well, I want a Diet Coke or a Diet Pepsi. No calories. I'm trying to lose weight. Here's what studies have shown. And I've been talking about this for 25 years. Kevin was right file. You take 2 people. One person drinks regular Coca-Cola with sugar in it as the sweetener, not the high fructose corn syrup. A Coca-Cola with sugar, which comes from the sugar cane. Another person drinks Coca-Cola with no sugar, no high fructose corn syrup, but an artificial sweetener like aspartame. This person who's drinking the diet is consuming a lot less calories a day. This person is drinking more calories. Guess what happens after 30 days? The person drinking the diet soda gains weight. So the first thing, the first reason you want to avoid artificial sweeteners is it makes you gain weight. And the reason you're consuming it is you think it's no calories and you think it's good for weight loss. It isn't. It does the exact opposite. Number two, it's chemically addictive. This actually was on the front page, I think, of Time magazine. It was on the cover. It was called The New Crack, because researchers have determined that artificial sweeteners are so ridiculously, incredibly addictive. They couldn't believe how addictive it was because it affects the neurotransmitter activity and the serotonin levels in your brain. What does this mean? This means artificial sweeteners like sucralose and aspartame make you anxious, stressed, and depressed. So, why would you want to consume it? Clearly, artificial sweeteners are in diet sodas, but they're in diet anything. And if you see the words, no sugar, time out. It's a marketing ploy. They want to convince you that it has less calories and it has some type of artificial sweetener. The two main ones. Now, there's another one called saccharin, which isn't around very often. And quite frankly, that isn't as bad, but it's still bad. But aspartame and sucralose, stay away. Where else do you find them? Here's the best part. I mean, this is the scary thing. And this is why I started the world's best nutritionals and organics company, because every company out there selling nutritional products, food supplements, food bars, nutritional bars, protein shakes, nutritional shakes. You see all these people, they're all healthy and they're drinking this green powder in a glass jar and they're going, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so healthy. It's got vitamins and minerals and it's got all this stuff. Yeah, and it's got sucralose in it, an artificial sweetener, which is making you depressed and fat and causing cancer. And these people know it, but they don't care. They just want to sell you the product. And they know that if you drink this, it's going to be tasting like you're eating grass. Here, would you like some grass? Come on over to my house. I'm going to give you some juice from my grass. I mowed the lawn and I turned it into juice, but it's got chlorophyll in it. It's very good for you. It's very alkalizing. Here, I know it smells like grass because it is grass, and it tastes like grass because it's grass, but it's good for you. Who's going to drink it? So I got to put something in there so that you don't throw up. So I put sucralose because I don't want to put sugar or high fructose corn syrup because then the calories go up. And from a marketing standpoint, they know that people look at the nutrition part of the label for the calories. So they put in stupid things like sucralose and aspartame. You look at your food bar, you look at your protein bar, you look at your protein shake, and look for the sucralose, high fructose corn syrup, or aspartame. It's everywhere. Stay away. Number 3. All right, so number 3 is something that you all eat. People eat it all over the world. It's pork. And it's funny because I was having breakfast with Danielle a couple weeks ago. We're at this breakfast place, and there was these two guys over here. They were having a conversation, very intellectual conversation, and I was pretty fascinated with what they were saying. So I took my phone, then I started the recording, and they actually started talking about pork. Joe, let's play this. So this is the conversation of these two guys that I overheard talking about pork. Let's play this clip.
Pig sleep and root and shit. That's a filthy animal. I ain't eating nothing. I got
so start that from the beginning. That's in the middle.
How about a dog? Dog eats his own feces.
I don't eat dog either.
We got this clip here.
Do you consider a dog to be a filthy animal?
Not the beginning.
I wouldn't go so far as to call a dog filthy, but they're definitely dirty.
That's not the start. The middle of the conversation. All right, we'll get the. Give me the thumbs up when you have this teed up. But let me talk about it. So pork is something you should avoid. Why? A pig will eat anything in its path, including a dead rat. Scientists now know that whatever the pig eats turns to meat on its bones. So if you eat the meat of a pig, you're going to put your body in virtual toxic shock. All right, so you get this teed up now? All right, so let's play this clip.
Want some bacon?
No, man, I don't eat pork.
Are you Jewish?
No, I ain't Jewish. I just don't dig on swine, that's all.
Why not?
Pigs are filthy animals. I don't eat filthy animals.
Yeah, but bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good.
Hey, sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I'd never know because I wouldn't eat the filthy motherfuckers. Pigs sleep and root and shit. That's a filthy animal. I ain't eat nothing that ain't got sense enough to disregard its own feces.
How about a dog? Dog eats his own feces.
I don't eat dog either.
Yeah, but do you consider a dog to be a filthy animal?
I wouldn't go so far as to call a dog filthy, but they're definitely dirty. But dogs got personality. Personality goes a long way.
So by that rationale, if a pig had a better personality, he'd cease to be a filthy animal. Is that true?
Well, we have to be talking about one charming motherfucking pig. I mean, he has to be 10 times more charming than that Arnold on Green Acres. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That was not a real conversation that I overheard. That's from Pulp Fiction, and that was Samuel Jackson, and of course Vincent, played by John Travolta. But pork, stay away from. A pig eats its own feces. A pig eats anything in its path, even an organic pig. The meat takes 48 hours to be digested. So when you eat pork, the body goes into toxic shock. Most pig has trichinosis in it and other types of viruses, which cause the body's immune system, your immune system, to just overwork. It takes blood away from the brain. It has a very low vibration, lowering the body vibration. So ideally, stay away from pork. And if you can stay away from pork, you will just notice that your energy levels over about 3 or 4 months of no pork consumption, that your energy levels will start going up, your mental clarity will go up. Big advantage. Now, I am not a fanatic. So, for example, I shy away from pork. And by the way, I'm Italian. I grew up on pork. Pork chops, bacon, pork sausages. We had pork all the time. Roast pork. I didn't die. No one's going to die. But I decided at one point to stay away from pork, and I wanted to monitor how I felt. So after about 3 months of no pork, I thought to myself, I really don't notice a big difference. So I went to a restaurant and I ordered, that was known for their pork chops, and I ordered the pork chops. Number one, I didn't find that they tasted appealing to me anymore. It was like, wow, I used to love pork and it just doesn't appeal to me. I couldn't even eat the whole thing. And then I felt so sluggish afterwards. That's when I noticed the big difference. So you might want to stay away from pork as best you can. But again, I'm not a fanatic. I was in Rotteckegen, Germany, south of Munich, and I met the owner of the hotel I was staying at, and he invited me to dinner at his house. So I went there, and he said, my wife drove to Nuremberg to get some very special Nuremberg sausages. They're only available in Nuremberg. They're very special. Well, it's a 2-hour drive each way. So she spent 4 hours in a car just to get sausages for me, which are 100% pork. I'm not going to say, well, thanks, but I don't eat pork. I'm a dick. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, fine. And so I ate the pork sausages. They, quite frankly, were delicious. And, I didn't notice a big difference afterwards. But the bottom line is, pork, you can't put it in the health food category. But I also know people that are 95 years old that eat pork all the time. This is one of the things that if you reduce from your diet or eliminate all the blood work, all the hormone levels, it's going to show it is healthy, and it is going to increase not only your lifespan, the number of years you have in your life, but the amount of life you have in your years. Your energy levels could go up, your skin could look improved, but also your ability to communicate into the ether, that sixth sense. Pork will reduce it. This is why all gurus or spiritual gurus stay away from pork 100%, And many of them stay away from meat as well because it will reduce, because they're lower frequency foods. Next, shellfish. Oh boy. I grew up on shellfish. I grew up in Boston. Every Friday, because it was a big Catholic area. So on the Catholics back then, you couldn't eat meat on Friday. So Friday, everybody went out for fried fish. So we got the fisherman's platter, which was fried cod or haddock, fried scallops, fried shrimp, fried clams, sometimes fried mussels. And then, of course, crab. Oh, lobster. Oh. Why shy away from shellfish? Here's why. More people get sick from eating, quote, bad shellfish than any other food group on the planet. More people every year die from eating bad shellfish than any other food group on the planet. More people are allergic to shellfish or have allergic reactions that are quantifiable and they can see it. More people are allergic to shellfish than any other food group on the planet. Shellfish, and let me define shellfish. It's not just fish that comes in a shell, like a clam or a mussel or a crab or a lobster or a scallop. But it's really any fish in water that does not have scales and fins. That's the rule. Stay away from or avoid anything that comes out of water that doesn't have scales and fins. Why? So a catfish has fins but no scales. You would stay away from that. Squid, octopus. They're not shellfish, but you stay away. No scales, no fins. Why? Anything that doesn't have scales and fins, shellfish, and the other items I mentioned, squid, octopus, catfish, and so on, they're filters. They absorb whatever toxin is in the water, and they keep the toxins in their flesh that you are eating. This is why when I grew up in Boston, we had sometimes the red tide. The red tide would come in, which are these red microorganisms like an algae, and they're poisonous. You couldn't swim. You couldn't go out and swim in the ocean. If there was a red tide, you'd get sick. But you also couldn't eat the shellfish that came out of Boston Harbor or the area because those shellfish absorbed the toxin in the water and you would get sick or potentially die from eating anything that came out of the water when there was a red tide. But you could eat the haddock, the mackerel, the cod, and the flounder because they had scales and fins. So those fish you could eat. They would filter out the toxins and the flesh was pure. So if you stay away from shellfish, it's just like pork. I'll tell you a funny story. Mike Siegel, he's the 10-time world champion pool player, winningest player of all time. We were on the road together, traveling around, having some fun. And we were going from city to city to city, and Mike loves to go out dining. And of course, we're staying in motels. We're going to go out to restaurants. And we like to go out and have a nice meal. So in this one particular city, we stop, and they have mussels on the menu. Mike says, I love mussels. Anytime mussels are on the menu, I'm ordering them. So he orders the mussels. The next day, he's sick. A couple days later, we stop at another restaurant. Mussels are on the menu again. We're in another city. He orders the mussels. The next day, he's sick. A few days later, we're in another city, another different restaurant. Mussels are on the menu. He orders them. Next day, he's sick. I go, Mike, do you realize that every time you order mussels, the next day you're sick? He goes, really? I'm going to order them tonight and see what happens tomorrow. So he orders them. Next day, he's sick. He goes, okay. Next day, that night he doesn't order mussels. Next day, he's perfectly fine. He orders mussels. Next day, he's sick. Doesn't order mussels. Next day, he's perfectly fine. And he goes, you know something? You're right. These mussels, I must be allergic to them or something. They're making me sick. I go, yeah. So what are you going to do? He goes, oh, I'm still going to eat them. He goes, I love them. He goes, but anytime I eat them, I just know that the next day I'm going to be sick. So stay away from shellfish. If you stay away from shellfish and anything that comes out of water that doesn't have scales and fins, by the way, this is also the law of kashrah or the kosher laws. Pork and shellfish fall into that kosher law category. The kosher law says you can eat anything that's on the ground as long as it has a split hoof and chews the cud, which is why you don't eat pork. But you should also not eat anything that doesn't have a split hoof and chew the cud, like a bear, or because it has a paw. So if you stay away from anything that doesn't have a split hoof and chew the cud, such as a pig, and it says you can only eat something that comes out of water, whether it's a lake, a river, stream, or ocean, that has fins and scales, you're going to be better off.
Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau. This is everything they don't want you to know about to improve the quality of your life. Broadcasting every Monday and Wednesday, 2 days a week now. Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock Chicago time. Make sure you tune in and subscribe to the channel and share these shows with everyone you know.